Good evening. I want to begin my presentation on communal discernment by explaining a little bit about what it is. Now, we're all somewhat familiar with the concept of discernment. Discernment is the ability to make good judgments. It's the ability to distinguish between possible choices in order to determine how to act, or it's the ability to better comprehend or understand. As it relates to our life in God, discernment is a process whereby we try to get a better understanding of God's will for us in the particular circumstances of our lives. Now, normally, we think of discernment as something that is practiced by individuals, and this certainly is true. But discernment is also something that is required of communities and even of parishes. Now, there are some similarities between individual discernment and communal discernment. In the same way that an individual must prayerfully reflect on their life and the world around them in order to understand God's will for them, a parish must do the same thing. Now, there's no single correct way for a community to discern God's will for them, but our leadership community here at the parish, we begin by trying to understand the world that our parishioners inhabit. As the pastoral constitution of the church in the modern world points out, quote, "The church always has the duty to scrutinize the signs of the times and interpreting them in light of the gospel. We must therefore recognize and understand the world in which we live, its explanations, its longings, and its dramatic characteristics." So seeing the world through the eyes of our parishioners is the starting place for us to understand the world in which we live, its explanations, its longings, and its dramatic characteristics. And we believe that by identifying these signs of the times, by trying to better understand them, and then interpreting them in light of the gospel and in light of Catholic teaching, we can better understand God's given call for us as a parish. This is because we believe that God is at work in the longings of the human heart. We believe that God's hand is revealed in the dramatic characteristics of our age. And we believe that we are called to cooperate with God's work and God's dream for the cosmos. Now, discerning God's will for our parish is not just a parish activity or a special kind of a program. It is our way of being parish. It's what makes us the people of God, and not just a social club or a service organization. And in the same way that an individual's understanding of God's will changes and adapts over time as they continue their faith journey, so too for parishes, communal discernment really never ends. It never ends. As our parish community changes, our understanding of God's call for us will change. As the world that our parishioners inhabit changes, so our understanding of God's call for us will change. So communal discernment is not something that you do once and then check it off your to-do list. It's a discipline. It's part of the regular life and rhythm of a parish community. Communal discernment is also not the same as problem solving. Our calling is not a problem that needs to be solved. It is a mystery that unfolds before us as we take each step forward in faith. Communal discernment is not only essential in order to better understand our God-given calling as a parish, it's also an important way to strengthen our parish identity and our sense of mission. Now, as Catholics, we share an identity with the Universal Catholic Church under the apostolic leadership of the successors of the apostles. But parishes are particular expressions of this universal church. Parishes are universal in the way they administrate the sacramental life of the parish. Parishes are also universal in the way they embody the rich Catholic theologies and spiritualities of our church and their commitment to the church's creed and the church's teaching. But parishes, they're also particular. Each parish is unique in the way that it incarnates the universal church, which is just another way of saying that no two parishes are exactly alike. Each parish has its own spirit, its own personality, its own way of being together, and its own way of being present in the world. Now, at St. Margaret Mary Parish, we want to be intentional about creating our parish identity. So, more than any particular articulation of our parish theme and calling at any given moment, what we're seeking to do here is to create a parish identity that is centered on the concept of mission. On the back of our parish theme card, we identify ourselves as a mission-focused parish. And in describing this, we point out 4 principles. First, that our parish exists because of God's initiative and not our own. It is God who has called our parish into being, and it is the mission of the parish to discern and participate in God's mission for us. Second, our parish has a unique God-given calling to be a sign, a foretaste, and an instrument of the coming reign of God. Third, our parish does not create its own vision for the future. We must discern and participate in God's vision for us. Fourth, God calls our parish to renew itself on a regular basis in order to meet the historical and social circumstances that confront us from day to day. Change, therefore, is not an option for our parish, but it is a necessary part of our calling. So, in conclusion, communal discernment is a discipline whereby we seek to better understand our unique calling from God at a given time on our collective faith journey. It is a means by which we strengthen our parish identity and collaborate with God's work in our particular place at a particular time. It is not a program. It is not an initiative. It is our way of being church.